Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes, and I'm so happy you're with us today. Our guest today is, other than Craig Hogan, my closest friend in doing this work. It's difficult for us really to find truly kindred spirits in the field of afterlife research and education. And it's even more difficult to find kindred spirits who have put in the time and done the work in the field of afterlife research and who also work and teach in the field of spirituality as well. But Sandra Champlain has done all of that and then some. She also has arrived at a very important milestone in her career at about the same time that I have. Earlier this year, Sandra and I both delivered our astonishing 500th podcast episodes. Interview done, podcast produced, and all out there in the world. Of course, I like to tease Sandra that she cheated a bit. She did cheat a little bit because she now has two podcasting platforms going at the same time, while I've still got only one. I've still got just my old Seek Reality, and I've been going at it for 10 years. Well, 10 years in June. Well, she's got two going at the same time. And I mean, her afterlife educational career, let's face it, is on fire. Sandra Champlain is with us today for the 15th time. She's someone whose beautiful work in the afterlife education field is really beyond compare. For years now, she's done her weekly Sunday gatherings with an international team of mediums, and she's helped the amazing Brazilian physical medium Sonia Rinaldi's work in interdimensional communication. I said it. She's helped it immeasurably with her very successful movie, which is entitled Rinaldi, and is now featured on Amazon, believe it or not. She's hit the big time. Sandra does all of this, believe it or not, by herself. I get a ton of support from Craig Hogan. At this point, Craig is what amounts to my daytime husband. Just as I have an at-home husband, I have a daytime husband. I couldn't do this work without Craig, and that's a fact. My darling Sandra, I don't know how you do it. Welcome. It's lovely to have you with us again.
Oh, thank you. I can't believe it's been 15 times together. Thank you so much, Roberta.
Well, I just do all I can to help people know who you are and what you do. I mean, years ago, my Thomas, who is my spirit guide, I have three husbands. Now I think about it, I couldn't do this work without him either. And he told me years ago that it was time for me to pick my successor in this work. And so I chose Sandra. I mean, when you hear sooner or later that I have finally gotten to go home, Sandra's the one who will pick up my work for me. And I frankly, I'm happy to go home and know that there's someone who can carry on after me. And so I have to promote Sandra so everybody will know who she is. And first of all, Sandra, tell people all the things you're doing now, because I could not adequately do those things justice.
Well, actually, I think you covered quite a bit. It's interesting because, this girl, when you said 15 times and over 500 episodes, I went from successful business, catering, to losing it all with COVID struck. But what I had been doing in the background, which really was my heart's passion, was studying evidence of the afterlife, studying about grief. And so it feels like the universe just gave me a little push into what I needed to be doing mainstream. So you are right. Every Sunday we have a free Sunday gathering, which is a non-denominational service online Really fun, really peppy, really inspirational, but also included is a medium demonstration. So people attending may hear from their loved one. And even if they don't, there's really good evidence that our loved ones live on because people from the afterlife work through our mediums every week. There's online classes, there's demonstrations. Of course, my book, We Don't Die, is now 10 years old, which is really exciting. My podcast, I don't want to say I cheated, but when I got called forth by iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM because of my work on We Don't Die Radio, and they wanted to create an afterlife podcast with a whole new audience because they really promote. And Shades of the Afterlife was born just 2 years ago. So between both shows, there are over, like you said, 500 episodes. Never, ever, 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 ever expecting that I would be the mouthpiece for the afterlife. Anybody who's heard me before knows that I never believed in any of this, Roberta. I was kind of a Grinch as well, because anybody I heard talk about spirituality, the afterlife, angels, that whole new age realm, I just felt sorry for them because I thought if you can't see it or hear it or touch it or taste it or smell it, it can't be real. And through the death of my dad, of course, I really started my journey to find out what's possible and have delved into so many different kinds of afterlife communication and looking for evidence. And I couldn't help but share it once there was a tipping point where I felt 100% convinced. And so my little show, We Don't Die Radio, was just honestly created because I wanted to keep learning about the afterlife, but I didn't want to invest my time or money in buying people's books. So I figured if I interviewed great people, I'll just put them on this thing called the internet and see where it goes. Little did I know that, over 10 years now, I've had over 2 million listeners, and it's crazy, So anybody, if you have a passion, share it with other people, no matter what field it's in, because you can make a big difference. And I know I have, and I will keep on keeping on, just like you, Roberta.
Yeah, that's I think, an important thing for people to understand. Everybody working in this field started out as a huge skeptic. I was a skeptic in the beginning too. I didn't believe in any of this. And it was only because I discovered that there was this there had been people who had done so much research around the turn of the 20th century and had done this research with mediums. At the time, actually, there were much better mediums than we have now. There were physical mediums because people had done a lot of learning to be mediums in the dark, and they were doing much better work than anybody does now with physical mediums. And it was all being done in southern England and in the eastern United States, and very careful research was being done, much better than is being done now, and books were being written, and they were being written with scientific controls because they expected science was going to do this research, and it was all independently verifiable, and I discovered those books because they were still in used bookstores in the 1960s and 70s, and I found those books, and I spent 2 years buying them and reading them. You could buy them for 10 cents, 50 cents back then. And after I spent 2 years reading those books and read hundreds and hundreds of these accounts, it was impossible for it not to be real. And at the end of that time, you had to be convinced, if you had a brain in your head. So at the end of that time, yeah, I mean, just like you, I could not. I had to accept the truth because the truth was there in front of me. But you don't believe it easily. You just, you finally accept it because it's true.
It is true. And it's hard to accept it and realize it, though, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I think as human beings, we're meant to go through the ups and downs, and every really tough time in our life provides so much growth for our soul and for ourselves and an opportunity to help other people. So I live my life not in la la land. Oh, this is all magical, but very real and very grounded. Stuff happens. But I think having this information, we are able to sometimes pull ourselves out of a dark moment and kind of rise above and say, oh yeah, I'm a soul having a human experience. What can I learn from whatever's going on right now? Sometimes there are lessons of forgiveness. Sometimes you can't see anything because you might be in a very dark place. It might be a couple years down the road when you realize when you're helping out another person or giving some advice, you could have never done it had you not been in that dark place. So anything we can do, and I know Seek Reality and all the things that you provide and with Craig really help people remember who we are. And once we know who we are and we can stay plugged in through whether it's your website or one of these shows, we can live a whole different kind of life. And I never thought it possible to have such great friends and family and joy and be able to appreciate the little things had I not gone through this journey.
And the journey takes you to such an extraordinary place of giving, because when you get there, when you really understand that it is all real, you really want everybody to know it. It's such a gift to be able to give it. I mean, don't you find that that's really what it makes you want to do? You can't bear the fact that people don't know. They think their life will one day end when you know it won't end. I mean, that's the place where we get to be. You can't bear to have people be afraid of dying, because that's the day, that's the wonderful day when it all really begins in a way for people.
Absolutely.
Eternity begins.
It does. I wish there was some little thumb drive, though, that we could give everybody, and all they need to do is insert it into their arm or their brain or something, so that they could go through all the experiences that we have that have us know that it's real. Yes. I get emails like you do all the time with people looking for advice and help, and so many really kind emails I've received for people that have really been down on their luck and somehow or another found either my website, the book, one of the podcasts, and it's given them their life back. So I do think that each one of us personally have to go on our own little journey. I know listening to shows really, really helps, but there are times when we can be at peace with ourselves or look at a picture of a loved one, and all of a sudden a feeling will come through, or a shared memory, or you might feel a little kiss on your cheek. You know, our loved ones want just as much us to know that they're still around. But sometimes, you know,
so desperately they want us to know that.
Our minds are so busy that we can't relax into that present moment enough to be able to be in touch with that greater reality.
One of the things that we are trying so much now to help people to have too is the gift of Jesus, because he came to help people to understand that their lives are eternal, very much so. And that's why we've done teachingsbyjesus.com, so that people will understand what he really came to teach people. And I'm getting emails now all the time from people who have found that website, and they're grateful. But I keep saying, don't be grateful to me. It's his teachings. It's just that they were burying the Bible and nobody told you what he actually said. But my goodness, that's what you're trying. Your gatherings are all about helping people to understand the truth, the spiritual truths that they should have been getting in church, but they weren't getting in church.
One thing I talked about last Sunday on the Sunday gathering, because we have people from all different faiths come, and I never want to push beliefs on them. So I just, I put it out there. But I said that there are many lamps in this world, right? Many lamps, tons of different lamps, but there's only one light. And so the different, representations of religions or beliefs, or some people say the universe or the divine or whatever, there's one light, and that light that runs through Jesus, runs through us, runs through all my little wild critters that I'm looking out in my backyard right now. There is that flame, that light of divinity that we're all connected to, and we're so much more powerful. And with your new website with Jesus, it's all about how to live life. And I think once we get that we're never going to disappear, I see on our Sunday gatherings, when the people come through from the afterlife to give messages from their loved ones, Roberta, they still have their sense of humor, which I love. People show themselves without their toupee on, taking their teeth out, crazy lipstick, drag queens sometimes. And there's such specific shared memories that it's like, oh my gosh, we get to keep who we are. So we never die. Our body's definitely going to disappear, but we're going to keep on keeping on. And once we get that, I really think we can live a different kind of life. And I know your teachings, Jesus's teachings, and my things, it really is about embracing the now, being of service to other people, being loving, not being afraid, having joy. It's all possible.
It's so much, especially about that joy and about not being full of themselves, no ego, no stuffiness at all. I just opened an email this morning from someone who had been living a closeted life. He was homosexual, and he said that he always thought that God and Jesus hated him and his partner, and he had just been praying and just weeks ago, and Jesus had spoken to him and said, I don't hate you. I love you just as you are. And he said, is that really true? And I said, of course it's true. I'm so sorry that you had to worry about this all that time. Of course God loved you and Jesus loved you just as you are. And I mean, that I would even have to tell that to him. Of course he's loved just as he is. I mean, I had just had a guest on who knows that, who is homosexual. I mean, we open ourselves, don't wear a toupee. Yeah, be who you are. I mean, everybody be who you are.
And we are all loved. We are all one of a kind. No one will ever come along that's just like us.
Exactly. I
spent many years, Roberta, trying to refine my speaking skills and these different things, and only to realize that when you truly win is when you're just being yourself. And it's so easy to do, but a lot of us have been afraid what other people will think. Well, other people spend too much time thinking about themselves. They're not really thinking about us. But when we can really be relaxed as to who we are, that's when our light shines the brightest. That's when we find our like-minded friends, and it's great. Yeah, it is. Can I talk to you about what I'm most passionate about these days?
Oh, please. Oh, say, of course. Say
yeah, I know of Dr. Christopher Kerr, who wrote the book, Life is But a Dream. And he is a hospice doctor who spent years studying over 1,500 hospice patients. And many people hear about these deathbed visitations that just before people pass, they can reach up and they maybe see a loved one or an angel or something like that. Well, he's taken it one step further, and it's not just before someone dies, like moments. There are tons of accounts that he has gathered of people in their weeks before passing, sometimes even months before passing. And this to me is one of the most comforting things, because a lot of people, even myself, I don't want to suffer when my time comes, I just want to go to sleep one night and wake up and I'm reunited with my family, friends, and pets and things. So a lot of people fear that, that pain, that could happen. Well, it is a normal part of being alive that when we're getting close to our natural death, that we start dreaming in 3D, and our dreams are just as real as how we are living life. So Dr. Kerr has tons of accounts of people that are 100% convinced that their loved ones are with them way before they pass away. So they wake up from a dream and it is just as real as, say, them talking to the doctor. Their loved ones come through younger, healthy, obviously alive, and they know things about the person's current life. There's one really great story of a man who loved to cook, and he loved to make spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. And his girlfriend said, he always said he never got the recipe right because it was grandmother's recipe, but there's always something missing. So just a few weeks prior to his passing, he was at home with hospice. He had one of these true to life dreams. The grandmother showed up young and healthy, and she told him what was missing in the recipe.
Oh, what was it?
It was sugar. It was adding a tablespoon of sugar.
Oh.
So he got up from that hospital bed in his home. He had to make the sauce, and he did with just as much as she said, and he died a happy man. But it's beautiful. Even children have dreams of loved ones. Sometimes they're people they haven't met yet, and they're able to tell their parents about different people that really did exist. So a natural part of our body shutting down well before of, the final moments is that we start having these very, very clear dreams of our loved ones. And the joy, there's a documentary people can watch. If they go to deathisbutadream.com, they can watch the documentary on this. The joy and comfort I feel from studying this, knowing that towards the end there, that the dreams will start, and they are just as real as our life, so they don't occur as dreams, they occur as reality, that our loved ones come and they help us across. And anyone who is in an accident or something like that, our loved ones surround us in our life. So they're right with us and they'll be right there to greet us,
Isn't that
beautiful? But I love hearing that. I just love hearing that. So that's my latest passion, is to study more about that and give comfort to people and have us all take a look at dying before, we even get close to that, and figure out what funeral home you want to work with. There's forms you can fill out what you want to do, and take away the fear about dying, So
absolutely.
Yeah, that's my passion right now.
Oh my goodness. And don't drive off the road, everyone, so you can write that down, because we'll put that deathisbutadream.com. We'll put that in the program notes.
Thank you.
I've written it down. No, I mean, the beautiful thing about studying death and the afterlife is that it's really all about living, because we don't die. That's the that's the news that Sandra brings to the world. That's the news I bring to the world. That's the truth. It's the plain and simple truth. And when you know that for truth, then you know that you're going to live forever. It makes life worth living. I mean, if you live your life thinking that it could just end any second, and either you're in hell or you're just gone, what's the point of living, really?
Yeah. And there's miracles everywhere we look. And to me, this was a blessing of when COVID took away my livelihood, is that I was forced to slow down. And not that I was chasing fame or fortune. I wasn't, but I was working very, very, very hard. And there was a lot of things I was doing in my life that I just thought I should be doing. And I was exhausted all the time. And now my life is simple. There's a lot of things I do online, of course, but I get to spend all my time with my mom. So we are together. And as she grows older and things slow down, we just get to be together. And so not only do I have her and some just magnificent conversations, but I get to be out in nature. I get to just appreciate those little things. And there are moments that I just look out and I think, at one point, this earth was just this ball of rock, right? And there's water, of course, and rock and earth and plants and things, but that everything that we look at on planet Earth just came out of those basic elements. That we have this technology to connect and record our voices right now, and that we all have these cell phones that can pick up just about any bit of information in the universe so quick. And that we have these invisible streams heading to satellites that we get this information. And just thinking, how cool it is that we human beings can connect in this invisible highway as well. And we are connecting to the invisible, to our loved ones, down to our tiniest fiber, our little atoms that are within each one of us. Science has proved all we are is vibrating energy. And so to me, sometimes to get out of my own head, it takes either looking up at the stars to try to contemplate the vastness of the universe, which is impossible, or to go into the little inner universe to realize that all we are is vibrating energy, invisible vibrating energy, and somehow we have form to us and life. And when we start looking, I think, from those perspective, we start feeling a little bit insignificant, but also feeling significant that this is an illusion. I think it's a great one, this world we call life, but to not take ourselves so seriously that, I say that our life is just a thread in the fabric of our soul. There is such a bigger picture as to who we are. And if we can slow down a little, put in some gratitude for what we have, try not to get caught up in whatever day-to-day busyness our mind gives us. Because let's face it, I've already forgotten whatever I was stressed about yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
Put away some of those thoughts and be in the present moment. And it's in that present moment. That's where our connection is with our loved one. That's where we get some of the greatest ideas from. I mean, how many people in the shower, in the bathtub get this aha moment? It's because our minds are quiet. And if we can live life more that way, we're tied into our own spiritual, psychic nature, and things can just bloom, But like a rose that's a tight bud, it needs sunshine, it needs good earth, and it needs time to bloom. That's the same way we are. We need time to keep our mind quiet, to be present, and just everyone know that we are a blossoming flower right now. We can't force it, but we can put in the right elements to keep us growing.
And understand just how much we are beloved. I don't think any of us fully comprehends how very much we are loved by God, by Jesus, just how much we are individually loved.
Yes.
I talk to people all the time who just don't really appreciate that.
And it's not just people that may be walking this earth. If we had a little camera into the invisible world around us, behind each one of us are your loved ones that have already passed, cheering you on because they've lived this life. They know how difficult it is. Some of them have signed up to be your guides. And of course I do believe that we have guides that have signed up to be part of it, but we have this invisible team behind us.
Each of us is a walking crowd. That's
absolutely, absolutely. And what I didn't realize, because, I was hoping sometimes somebody would talk to me and, tell me what it is I should be doing. Well, they use our own voice. So we can take note of sometimes these thoughts that come randomly, and the good ones, because we all do have an ego and sometimes there's negative stuff there. But those good ideas, those gentle little thoughts that just sound like you, well, they use our voice to communicate with us because that's one voice that we know. But we are, we've got these divine souls that also are so powerful. But again, Roberta, it is taking that time to be quiet and tune out that busy mind that's always thinking about tomorrow or always feeling guilty about yesterday, and find a way, even in the smallest times, even for a few seconds, to just be in that present moment. And they are there.
They are there. There are people who work with you who help people learn to communicate with their guides.
People, you mean alive people?
Some of your mediums, don't they?
Yes. We had done a course, and it's now a video course about connecting with our spirit team. Yeah. You'll find that our home base is wedon'tdie.com. There's a store page. You can see everything that's coming up, but you can also see some of the past courses. And we have one about getting in touch with our spirit guides, our inspirers. One of the things that we do is inspired writing, just taking that time in that quiet moment and asking those who are around us if maybe there's a message for us or message for another, having a pen in our hand or your computer in front of you, and just writing down whatever is coming to your mind, not paying attention, just writing it as it comes. And when you read it back, sometimes there's beautiful poetry, sometimes there's just beautiful words.
So I could maybe send people there, because people ask me that question all the time. They know that I'm always talking with Thomas, and they say, "Tell me how to do that." And Lord, I don't know. I mean, he's in charge of our relationship. I'm not, and so I don't know really what to tell them. But I could send them to wedon'tdie.com, and what would they look for on your website?
Just go to the store page, and there's a scroll down a little bit because it's in video class. It is Spirit Guides, Inspirers, and Teachers, I think is the name of the course.
Good. That's good. Thank you.
And it's a relationship, just like you and I, Roberta. I mean, we met for the first time, and now we've met lots of times, both on, interviews and in person. The relationships take time to build. We have these people that have been standing invisibly next to us our whole life, supporting us, even though we might have not have ever talked to them. They are right there with us, loving us unconditional. And so from their side, they know and love us. They've watched us grow up. From on our side, it feels like building a relationship. So the more practice we have doing this, the more freedom there is. And that's why you with Thomas, it's all so natural, because it's been so long. And it takes time, but it's just wonderful.
It's a wonderful relationship.
Some of the things that have come through my fingertips and I've read, I just am like, oh, where did that come from?
It's so surprising.
And it just touches my soul. It's like, oh, there's been times words have come through me that I think that's not even a word. And then I look it up in the dictionary and it's some old English word or something. It's And then I had done a bit of inspired writing for a friend. And it was a story of a rose, speaking of roses. And I had sent it to him, and he said it is the weirdest thing, because he said after his mother passed, he put a single rose in her coffin. And he said, what you wrote in your inspired writing were the same words I said to her as I put that rose in the coffin.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my gosh. So that was evidence to him that obviously the mom's still around, but the fact that it came through me, through, just me writing what came to my mind. Big intelligence out there, huge. And we're all tapped into it. We're all that light, Roberta. We're all connected to it.
One great light. But everybody has one primary spirit guide. Many of us have several guides. So even if you aren't aware of it, we all have that one primary guide who's been with us through life. And you can get in touch with your guide if you want to. Some people don't want to, and that's okay too. Their feelings are not hurt. But if you want a closer connection, you can have it.
Yeah, just pure unconditional love. That is what they have for us.
That's what it all is about.
And wouldn't it be nice if we could be that for the people that are in our life? I said not too long ago on our Sunday gathering, you think of dogs who have this unconditional love other animals do too, but the tail's a wagging and they're happy to see you and they'll cuddle up with you. And to be that kind of person to other people, no matter what's happened in the past, to have that shine in your eye, smile on your face, be genuinely happy, be genuinely there for them, listen to them. And what a way to live life. So sometimes we just need to remind ourselves that we can do that.
Sandra, just describe for our listeners the heaven in which you live right now.
Me personally?
Yes, the beautiful backyard and all the animals and creatures that are there.
Oh, it is something else. I have just out of our kitchen window, I'm here with my mom. We've got these big picture windows, and I put out a few bird feeders. This was now 2 years ago, just to see if any birds would come. Well, they came right away. Well, next thing you know, wild turkeys started coming to eat what is on the ground beneath them. I bought a little backyard bird book of all the different critters. I've got a woodpecker actually out on suet right now, Roberta. I see a cardinal, a couple cardinals, some other ones. I know them all now by name, the different kinds of birds. And I've got some water out there for them as well. But I get bunny rabbits and squirrels and chipmunks. I feel like, I don't know if it's Snow White with all the animals.
But you get deer?
I get deer walking through. I saw a coyote once. I wasn't too crazy about that. But they're out there. It is the circle of life after all. But our house
this is in
woods.
Massachusetts. It's like you're on the edge of the wilderness.
Correct. It's actually Rhode Island, just south of the border,
well,
but it's close enough. It's close enough. Yeah. But close enough to town too, just a few minutes away from Fall River,
I can't
Massachusetts.
get over it.
Yeah, I can't either. It is the best move we've ever made. It is.
Wow.
Absolutely it is. And the turkeys, they roost in the trees at night. So from my bedroom window, I can see this big fat turkey fly, which is hysterical, up into the branches. And I spend some nights there. And now that spring is here, the hummingbirds will start coming back. I put hummingbird nectar out, and it's that miracle of nature. I don't know how I let it pass by me all these years. I was so busy just trying to work hard and, do the best I could. But the magic and the most pleasure I've ever had is just by slowing down. And like I said, not only being in the present moment to nature, but also to the people in my life. And there's so much joy. There really is.
Yeah. It is quite, you do have, call it a backyard. It's just beautiful. And it just, people, if you have if even a little space, think about feeding nature in your backyard, because these creatures are out there, and if they have if you feed them, they will come.
They will. And the people that feed the birds have a longer lifespan, lower blood pressure, don't get sick as often. There's so many things tied into it. And I totally get it, because it's joyful. And then I also get to be of service. And I'm sure these birds would find something to eat if I wasn't around. But just the fact that I'm helping them, making their life a little bit easier, and whether we do that for human beings or God's little critters, anytime we are of service, I think that is the keys to the kingdom, because our problems aren't so significant when we're out to help another.
But I can't get over how successful your little project has turned out to be.
Well, I'm actually a monster, and the older I get, there's more bird feeders that are coming. And I just, I used to have a friend who loved the birds, and I thought she was crazy. And I have now far surpassed her. So beware, the older I get, it's crazy. But it's giving me joy. That feels good. And then when I'm joyful, I share it, and then it's a ripple effect.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to tell you, you are just a delight in so many ways. But there's one thing I promised myself and you that we would do, which we have to do. My my daughter played hockey in high school, and if you cannot be a nuisance to your children, what joy is there in life? So naturally, I had to buy a cowbell that I could ring whenever she did a goal in high school. Therefore, I have a cowbell, and I'm going to ring my cowbell now for us since we hit 500 episodes. Hold on. I will ring this again. Now I have rung my cowbell. When we hit 1,000 episodes, we will have to ring our cowbell again.
Okay.
You have to understand why she and they actually played in, believe it or not, they played in Russia. Her hockey team played in Russia her senior year.
That's crazy. That's wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
But they had to get away from that cowbell, so naturally they played in Russia as well as here, and anything to get away from my cowbell.
So funny.
You understand that I was kind of a plague to my children, but if you can't be that, what can you be in life? Think about it.
Yeah, be yourself. Everybody
That's
else
right.
is taken. Just be yourself. And Roberta, for your listeners, at the wedon'tdie.com page, if they scroll down, they'll find my audiobook, and I love to give that for free. So just use coupon code FREE, FREE. Chapter 10, I believe, is the most important chapter because it is how to survive grief. As human beings, we're not taught really how to navigate through life, and we're definitely not taught how to navigate through grief. So there's tons of biological changes that explain how bad we feel, the tears, the pain, the thoughts. And I give people so many tools from my research to help move through grief and to know what is in your control, what is out of your control, and really to be gentle on yourself. But when we hit grief and we do have some kind of a loss, that can also be such an opportunity for us to go and have spiritual growth. And that's what happened to me, and here I am on this journey. So I do like to share that. Go to wedon'tdie.com, click on the store page, find the We Don't Die audiobook, use coupon code FREE.
All right, we'll put that in the notes as well.
All right.
Thank you so much, dear. You are such a delight to me.
My pleasure. And we're just mirrors for ourselves, Roberta, because you have made such a difference in my life as well. Thank you.
So everyone, we have sadly come to the end of our time today. What would you like people to take away from our conversation?
How about have some fun today? Don't take yourself so seriously. You've got an invisible team of people around you cheering you on. Life can be tough, but ultimately it's all experience and growth for our soul. But you are dearly loved, and just go do something that makes you happy today.
Do something to make you happy today. What a beautiful thing to say. Well, big hug, my darling friend, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Everyone, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm so happy you were with us today. And please never forget that you are a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end. And when you really get what that means, it's going to change everything in your life for the better. Next week, our guest will be TJ Woodward, who will be with us for the 5th time. TJ is a wonderful public thinker, and I think you're going to really enjoy getting to know him better. His first book was Conscious Being, Awakening to Your True Nature. It was basically my own liberating Jesus, but it was based in Eastern religious teachings and not in the teachings of Jesus. His second book was Conscious Recovery, a fresh perspective on addiction. His special calling is ministering to addicts, which is beautiful when you think about it. And his third book was Conscious Creation, 5 Steps to Embracing the Life of Your Dreams. I just enjoy, frankly, hearing what he's up to now, and I think you will too. Please be sure to join us next week. And of course, this week we've been talking with our dear, precious friend, Sandra Champlain. Her beautiful work in the afterlife education field is really beyond compare. For years, Sandra has done her weekly Sunday gatherings with an international team of mediums, and she's helped the amazing Brazilian physical medium Sonia Rinaldi's work in interdimensional communication. There, I said it. So much with her very successful movie, which is entitled Rinaldi and is now featured on Amazon. Sandra does all of this work by herself, and as I've said, that amazes me because I need my husband, I need my other husband, Craig Hogan, and I need my third husband, my Thomas. I watch Sandra do everything and do what she does so beautifully and so easily. And she gladdens my heart every time I talk with her. I'll be having lunch with her in just a couple of weeks. And now, of course, it's time once again for us to mention that Seek Reality Online is your one-stop resource for all things death and the afterlife. Craig runs it, and you know he does everything he does so beautifully. Just go to seekreality.com and start to learn for yourself that your reality really is eternal. And teachingsbyjesus.com is your single resource for all the beautiful divine truths that are brought to us in perfect love by the greatest teacher who ever lived, Master Jesus, the eternally risen Christ. Now it really is Jesus' turn. As Christianity, the religion, finally dies, the genuine teachings of Jesus can finally come alive. Teachingsbyjesus.com is the Lord's own entirely religion-free website, made by Him, for Him, in perfect love for you. I know you know that my books are Liberating Jesus, My Thomas, The Fun of Dying, The Fun of Staying in Touch, The Fun of Growing Forever, The Fun of Living Together, and The Fun of Loving Jesus, Embracing the Christianity that Jesus taught. For young children, there's The Fun of Meeting Jesus, and you can order all these books through bookstores on Amazon.com or on BarnesandNoble.com, or most of the adult books except the last are also available as audiobooks. If you want to talk about anything at all, just contact me through the green contact block on robertagrimes.com. I answer all those emails, although it can take a while sometimes. Just please be sure to give me your correct email address or it bounces, and I'm very sad when they bounce. Past episodes of Seek Reality are available wherever podcasts are found, and many people tell me they just listen each week through the Seek Reality app that you can get for free wherever free apps are available. And meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and you, most of all in the entire universe, you are infinitely loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.